Good evening. I'm Marie Younger Blackburn, and I'm your host of Driven Women TV. Welcome. Um, Driven Women TV was created for the purposes of keeping Driven, Cape Cod's conference for women, alive. The purpose of the show is to uplift and highlight women in business and of other interest. So tonight I'm here with my guest, Jeni Wheeler. She is the owner of Jeni's Joy. It's a gluten-free um, prepared food business. And I'm happy to have you, Jeni.
Thanks so much for having me on.
Okay, so we're going to have a discussion with Jeni tonight. Jeni is one of our speakers at our retreat that we're having on March 3rd at the beautiful Camp Linden in Sandwich. So for the first year, we decided that we're going to take it down a little bit with Cape Cod's Conference for Women. In the past, we've been at the Seacrest Beach Hotel in North Falmouth, and we will return. They are our partners. And but this year, we're going to convene with some women like Jeni and others and just kind of do the work. The name of this event is called Women Driven by Vision. And Jeni is going to be one of our speakers. So I'm just going to open it up for Jeni to tell you a little bit about her background.
Well, my background is pretty varied. I have an MBA from Babson, and I worked prior to going back for my MBA. I primarily worked in two venues. One with coaching in children. I was a Division III All-American swimmer. And I always loved teaching and coaching. Mm-hmm. So I started a swim school. It grew to almost 2,000 students a year and was the first of its kind to accept disabled students.
Sure.
And I ended up running into zoning issues, which is where I really found out that I need more about the business side. Mm-hmm. That was part of what prompted me to go back to Babson and do my MBA. Mm-hmm. And then the second thing is I grew up in a somewhat political family. My grandmother was a politician. And so I had kind of worked in and out of politics for a lot of my youth. Mm-hmm. And that's the other piece of my background. I've run a lot of campaigns. And so basically I went back to Babson because I had decided that I really wanted to focus on children and wellness, mm-hmm. and Babson's the #1 entrepreneurial school, so I chose to go there. Mm-hmm. And upon coming out, I actually went into a startup company, mm-hmm. became the chief operating officer of a tech company, and worked as a consultant for a couple of years until I really was like, okay, I'm turning 40. Mm-hmm. What's my passion? Mm-hmm. Really, my passion is food, because mm-hmm. the grandmother that was a politician also grew up with a huge garden that we tilled every year, and real food was a huge part of mm-hmm. our everyday life.
Awesome. That's what I love about women here on Cape Cod, and a driven woman. I think you personify what it means to be a driven woman. You have so much going on. You're just not, one way. You have different interests and different abilities, and those life changes take you, it led you to food, back to, where it all began with your grandmother, yep. I believe, yeah. So now I met Jeni at a networking event, yes. And she has a pendant that she's wearing here, and it's called Joy. And all I could think of when I met you was joy, yep. The bright smile and the bubbly.
And you called me that for the next several days.
So I still want to call you Joy, because that's what I see when I, speak with mm-hmm. you or talk with you, and I think it's reflected in your food. I just want to talk about how. Yeah. So Jeni's going to be one of our presenters at our retreat, mm-hmm. and just from sitting with you and hearing all the wonderful things that you've done, I wanted to bring a little bit of your story to the women of Cape Cod. She's going to be speaking about what happens when your vision becomes cloudy, because as you see in her brief bio that she just gave you, how one thing led to another, and maybe something may not work out. You were a swimming coach, Division One, Division
Three All-American.
3 All-American from what school was that?
Franklin and Marshall.
Franklin and Marshall, yeah. And I love how you started, you had kids with disabilities integrated into your programming, and that was a first.
Yeah, the first of its kind. I was being written into kids' IEPs, their individual education plans, and it brought me a lot of satisfaction, a lot of gratification to be able to donate a lot of my time to. I had a 5-year-old with a colostomy bag. I had a 13-year-old blind student. We had plenty of kids with, autism and, fairly severe ADHD. And, for me, a lot of these kids can't find other programs to go to.
Sure.
So it was nice to bring my athletic background, but also I was known for giving homework. And people were like, who gives homework at a swim class?
Yeah.
Me.
Right. Go home and, yeah.
But all of the homework assignments were actually around like service-oriented things, being a good person. That was something that was really important to me. So.
And 2,000 students, huh?
Almost 2,000 students a year. Yeah. I actually had parents say to me, I don't understand. The kids love you, but you're strict.
Right. Kids love structure.
They do love
structure. I have a child with a disability. He has Down syndrome. And I hope that Jenny's new to Cape Cod.
Yes.
And we'll talk about that, how she ended up here. But I hope that you will use some of your, passion for swimming. We have a YMCA that we're trying to bring here to Falmouth, and there's one in Hyannis. And we have, when I want to do things with Chase, I sometimes have to create my own lane, I call it.
Yes.
So because it isn't easy to get programs for him, he loves theater arts and music and swimming and bowling. And we often have to be the groundbreaking people in that. My husband and I just, we get out there and we do that with him and then call others to join us. So I'm glad that you're here, and maybe you'll
here I am.
You'll do some of that, yeah. But let's get back to, let me think. So let's go to your political ties. I thought that was, you were the interim director for the Commission on Status of Women?
Yes, I served as the interim executive director for the Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women. When I was there, we formed the Essex County Commission on the Status of Women, and I, several years later, became an Essex County Commissioner, coming full circle. And I've always been, I would say, civically minded and active. I think it's important to stand up for what you believe in.
Sure. And part of the mission of Cape Cod's Conference for Women is to bring women together under one roof. We share useful and relevant information that will drive you to go out and be the change in your own community. Yes. So we're change agents. So I'm a commissioner also for Massachusetts, for Cape Cod and in the islands. And we need you and women like you. I know, you're like, Marie, you're giving me all kinds of things to do. But, it's true. There's so much that we can do, and when you, my belief is that, our ability, money follows service, right? So I try to drive women to service, right? And sometimes we have to give it away in order to get it. I like to be a connector, as you can see, to expose women to different other women and different avenues where you can, that aligns with what you're trying to accomplish. But in, a lot, that's my service, right? And the capacity to connect people and give back. And money follows that, I believe.
Yes,
I believe.
I agree.
Yeah. So I think Oprah said that too, or some other folks that really get it.
Well, she's a good one to follow.
Yeah, that, I'll follow her, that get it. And it's okay. So let's see, where are we? That's great. And your Babson, so then you went back after you found some challenges with the swimming club. Yeah. But that's still a passion of yours, right?
Yeah, I think that working with kids is a passion. I enjoyed swimming. I was a very dedicated, focused athlete. I probably went about as far because I certainly had talent,
Hmm.
but I had a very strong work ethic. And that was really, I think, what got me. My siblings are far more athletically talented than I am.
Hmm.
But I think it requires the mental fortitude to really be like, this is what I want, and I am going to dedicate myself to do it.
Sure.
So,
And that's in business as well. So you
yes,
went back and you decided, I need to get some more
yes,
education under my belt.
yes,
And so you went to Babson,
I
which is
did.
great, a great school,
Yes.
and you got an MBA.
Yes.
Hmm. Yes.
My master's in business. I have a focus in entrepreneurship. That's actually why I chose to go to Babson. It's been ranked as the #1 entrepreneurial school in the country for, I think it's coming up on 19 years this year. I then sat on their alumni board. I served as clerk of their alumni board. I was president of the evening student body when I was there. We created the grad student council that exists today. I was the national chairperson of the 2005 National Association of Women MBA Conference, where we launched Women MBA magazine at that conference. You know, I believe in the power of women,
Sure.
and I believe that there's very little women can't do if they are lifted together.
Exactly.
And unfortunately, particularly in business, a lot of times the complaint you hear is that women don't help women. And I actually don't think that that's a productive, like, oh, this is my space, I'm going to protect it. I'm not going to, I actually feel like the more you share, the more you give, the more
Sure.
you get.
Sure. And I think we're a good example of that.
Yes.
We're both in like-minded industries. My background is in food service, Johnson
Yes.
& Wales, and I've made a living here catering on Cape Cod and doing food. And I met you, and I had no problem connecting you and putting you out there in front of people to do. Yesterday, Jeni prepared food for our Cape Women's Roundtable luncheon
Yep.
and networking meeting.
Yep.
And I too believe in that.
Yeah.
Amazing things happen is my quote. When we lift each other up, we
Yes.
all might rise, right?
I agree.
And we have a philosophy, my family and I who do food service, that we get what we're meant to get,
Yes.
right? In terms of business, it will present itself, and then that's the business that we want, the one that is
Yes.
meant for us, right?
I agree.
So we stay in our lane, right? We share with others, we collaborate, and when it's appropriate, and we wish the best to all.
Yes.
So let's.
I'm not sure I stay in my lane. I can't
Yeah.
follow a rule if it's put in front of me.
Yeah. Yeah.
When I'm driving, I stay in my lane.
Come on, I'm trying to be appropriate for TV, but I get that.
Yeah.
I'm a visionary.
Yeah.
So I dream dreams, and I have things that I want to create here on Cape Cod.
Yes.
And often that rubs people the wrong way.
Yeah.
Like, how dare she create something? But it's in me to do, just like it's in you to do the things that matter to you, right?
Yes.
And that's, I really believe in that we have our convictions, that we stick to them, right? Yeah.
Well, at 40, basically, I turned 40 and I was single, no kids. And of course, this is one of those stereotypes that I think a lot of women grow up with. And, whether it's actually said to you or implied, you start to kind of wonder, all right, what are we doing here? Like, that wasn't what I thought, wasn't where I thought I would be. And so I really had I guess an awakening that just something in me said I need to press pause and take a year off and step out and figure out really what I want to be doing. So I took a year off and I taught 7th grade math at an inner city middle school in Lynn, and took the time to think about really what motivated me, what I wanted to do. And it was a combination of, like I said, I thoroughly love working with kids, but I love cooking. My passion is definitely cooking. And I don't necessarily consider myself a very creative person, but all of my creativity comes out in the kitchen.
Sure.
And it's just, give me an apron and let me stand in a kitchen. And people say to me, like, you're so comfortable speaking in front of large groups and doing all this stuff. I'm never happier than when I'm in my kitchen.
Oh, so that means you found your passion.
Yes.
So I just want to go back. You said something really interesting to me that you didn't think you would be where you at 40. So
Yeah.
you kind of came to it early, because some of us, 50 or 60, you're like, wow, you have some reflection. You look back
Hmm.
and you go, is this what I created? I take a lot of pictures, a lot. You guys know, right?
Yes.
So I take a picture of everything. I capture everything. And my parents took pictures of
Hmm.
everything. They carried 35 millimeter professional cameras, and they took pictures of everything. So it's really in me to do that.
Yeah.
But when I look back on my body of work in my life, it makes me smile and I'm happy.
Hmm.
And there are days when I say, what have I accomplished and what have I done?
Hmm.
And you sat here and you described a bio, fit for a queen, right? That you've done this, and I've created a publication. And then in the same breath, you say, I wasn't where I thought I would be.
No.
So I just want to put it out there. Where is it that you thought you would be?
Married, kids.
Mhm. So that piece.
Yeah, that
Uh-huh.
piece.
Okay.
I also I tend to be motivated. I tend to be driven by my passions.
Okay.
And that comes with pros and cons,
Mm-hmm.
truly.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm pretty good at recognizing that I come with pros and cons. And what I love to do for others.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that I'm good at it.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is, by doing that, it in times actually allows you to hide from yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it takes a lot of internal work to really recognize that.
Sure.
And so I think women traditionally have a hard time saying, this needs to be about me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. Everything else is going to have to pause.
Mm-hmm.
This has to be about me.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't have that at 40. I had, if this is what I'm going to do, if this is my life,
Mm-hmm.
if I'm me, myself, and I, then I need to create a life that makes me happy. And that includes giving to others, that includes seeing others smile.
Mm-hmm.
And part of my cooking, I was very determined to create a brand.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So when I created my brand, Jeni's Joy, it spoke to me.
Yes.
It's what I wanted. I wanted to create my joy.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to create joy for others.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted joy to be in my food,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what I'm giving to the world.
Mm-hmm.
I also felt that I could help possibly impact school lunch, kind of possibly school lunch regimens. I had all sorts of ideas for, working with kids with cooking, teaching them how to cook.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up going into gluten-free cooking because my dad and my sister have to be gluten-free. And, after cooking 2 separate meals at Thanksgiving, you're like, okay, this is ridiculous.
Mm-hmm.
The stuff I make is good enough that it should be good enough for everybody.
Sure.
I've got to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was really, but for me, it was the whole journey was about trying to build a life
Mm-hmm.
that satisfied me on all sides.
Sure. And I think a lot of women are searching for that,
Yes, I
that
agree.
passion and their purpose.
Yes.
And last year our theme was women driven with purpose, and we
Yes.
really did that work to find the purpose. This year it's women driven by vision, right?
Yes.
So we're going to do that work at the retreat,
Yes.
where we're going to have 4 separate speakers, and they're going to speak in the area of finance, health and wellness, business, and empowerment. And we're going to do some vision board work and
Mm-hmm.
really get to that where you're at, where you said, okay, this is what I find my passion and my joy doing.
Yes.
Jeni's joy. And I know, just talking to you, that it's not over yet. It will continue to morph, just like I morph. And I continue to have, dreams and visions of what I
Yeah.
want to do and how I want my life's work to look.
Yeah.
So we're going to do that work on March 3rd, Saturday, up at the beautiful Lakeside
Can't
Camp
wait.
Linden. So I can't wait either. And I hope that women walk away feeling, just a little bit closer to
Absolutely.
really understanding themselves and understand. I love what you said about giving to yourself, right? We pour out as women, right?
Yes.
Whether it's children, husband, work, family, community,
Yes.
we pour out. But that self-care, and that is where this idea came for this year of a retreat.
And I think
because
it's
I know I
crucial.
needed it. Yeah.
It really
Yeah.
is. It's crucial. And for me, I think that this really, you know, I'm going to go through, as you mentioned, what happens kind of when the vision gets blurry, if you will. But as a little promo, I suffered a significant injury almost 10 months ago. I set about creating Jeni's Joy almost 3 years ago. I was very focused on it. It was the driving force in my life. It made me happy. We created the brand. I created a logo. I did a lot of work on it. Started at a commercial shared space kitchen, kind of got the kinks out, sold my house to self-fund my own commercial kitchen, and suffered a horrible freak accident that made it so that I never got to light a burner in that kitchen.
So we're going to leave some of that on the
Yes,
table.
we're just gonna leave
and
it.
that was great. But we're going to leave some of it on the table for the retreat because we want women to know what happens when the vision gets cloudy.
Yes.
What happens when some life event happens, whether it's illness or
Yes.
a financial thing or a family matter. What do you do then? How do you pick yourself up? How do you end up on Cape Cod, right? Looking for commercial kitchen space to bring Jeni's Joy back up to where you want it to be.
Yes.
And let's talk about Jeni's Joy. Let's talk about that soup. So Jeni bought me some of her, it was called turkey stew.
I brought you turkey
Yeah.
stew. Yeah,
13 vegetables
Yes.
hidden within a turkey stew. So what happened was you came by, you bought the turkey stew, and I poured myself a glass of red wine and put it on the table for my family, and we ate. I got the thumbs up from Chase. You know, he gave it a thumbs
that
up.
makes
and
me happy.
we ate our bowl, and then my husband came back into the kitchen, and he's opens the refrigerator. He's pouring him. So I said, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Getting another."
Oh, that makes me so happy.
So I was like, "No, you're not." You know, so we almost ended my marriage because we were gonna fight like who got some more soup, right? And there was enough probably for 2 bowls, but you know, it's my soup. So it was that good. It was turkey stew, and it was 13 vegetables. You called it turkey dinner in a bowl.
Basically, it's like Thanksgiving in a pot.
Yeah.
You know, it's packed with. Jeni's Joy is kind of known. My brand is kind of known for hiding vegetables and everything. So although all my food is gluten free, I'm really known for just hiding vegetables. So usually it becomes a party game that people start saying, wait, let me try and name the 12 vegetables or the 13 vegetables or the 15 vegetables in my beef stew. And, most people are like, I don't think I can come up with 15 vegetables.
I know, I couldn't, yeah.
So
you have like parsnips and all kinds of
yes,
stuff, right?
Yes,
So
I use things like yucca
kale,
as a
yucca.
thickener, and most people don't even know what yucca is.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So it's really good soup,
Yeah.
and I think that it would be great for children because children don't want to
Yes.
eat vegetables, and if it's in there, like Chase,
Yeah.
we can't get Chase to eat a vegetable.
And that's actually how I kind of got into it. My sister has now 10-year-old twin boys, and when we were little, when they were little, we literally I would try and hide things in everything. My sister used to refer to me as the paparazzi when the kids were little because she's like, they don't actually know what your face looks like. Aunt Jeni is the face of a camera. And that's it, because I photographed their entire first year. But really it was about making sure they had healthy options. My sister had a ton of food allergies growing up, tons of sensitivities, lots of, retaining water and swelling, and she'd get major welts. So one of her twins has a lot of allergies. And so I really started trying to hide stuff and puree stuff. So pureeing it became part of like the game was, what can we hide in this?
Nice.
What can we hide in that? And, we always were big, kind of health and wellness. My sister's a chiropractor, was a big part of how we were raised in general. So it was, a lot of it went into who I am and, you know, what Jenny's Joy is and
So
why.
can these soups be created by, do you send home recipes or do we have to get it from you?
So I actually had started giving out recipes, and the problem is that most people, you know, to try and go purchase like 13 vegetables,
Oh, yeah.
most people are just totally
don't wanna
overwhelmed by
do
it.
it.
I
Yeah.
mean, if you talk to people even about spices, like salt and pepper is what's at home.
Sure.
You know, you even get in past that, and people start going, ooh, you know, cooking used to be something. You know, family dinners used to mean something.
Yes.
Sit down. And a lot of times in places in Europe, South America, you still have that sometimes. And it actually, to me, is more than just the food. You know, usually food is what brings people together. You know, that you talk, you rest, you take your time. It helps with digestion. There's so many health benefits of actually eating together.
Yes.
And so when it comes to my food, that's the joy that went into my food. So even if I can't make you stop and eat, I might be able to make you stop and not go to McDonald's.
Right.
And take my soups or my, you know, breakfast bakes. So what I tended to do is, even though I gave out recipes here and there, but people were just so overwhelmed that people just started saying like, oh my God, can I just order a couple? Can I just order a couple? And really, they feel so good afterwards because, you know, any of the meats, or, you know, if I put meat in something, it's, you know, the beef is grass fed, the chicken is organic, the eggs are organic that I use in the breakfast bakes. I try and source as many of the vegetables locally as I can. Things like yuca you can't source locally. You know, I try and focus on that non-GMO organic to the best of my ability. Can't do it for everything.
So what's your plan for Cape Cod? What is your plan now that you're here? Because you've transitioned here.
I am.
Because of your,
I'm in Centerville.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for commercial kitchen space. You know, due to the injury, it's kind of changed up how I can cook, what I'm capable of doing. You know, so right now I've kind of taken that time to transition the vision a little bit, which we'll talk more about. And, you know, I'm hoping to be able to do home delivery, to be selling to some cafes soon. And, you know, prepared meals, the home delivery, people can hopefully come and pick it up in a couple of locations and see where it goes. You know, I'm going to let where I am guide me a little bit.
Sure.
I'm trying to let go a little bit of the planning that I did for 3 years.
Sure. So for now, you'll be able to see Jeni Wheeler at our this year's retreat, 2018. We're having Driven by Vision at the beautiful lakefront Camp Linden in Sandwich on March 3rd. So you'll be able to come, and Jeni will be one of our presenters, and she'll be speaking about what happens when the vision becomes cloudy. You know, so I'm just happy to have you here on Driven Women TV. Happy to introduce you to Cape Cod. You know, that was one of Jeni's goals to get to know more people, to be networked, and to get some friendships. You know, and the Driven Women Network has a lot of women that you will meet.
Back to that full life cycle.
Sure.
You can't be just one part of your life.
Right. So we wish you well here on Cape Cod, and we'll be here to support you and lift you up here with.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to speaking at the retreat, and I can't wait to spend a day with a lot of great women.
Sure. Okay. Awesome. We'll wrap it